Following guide and sample application is meant to provide guidance on how to fill out the Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities ACSD application. This guide follows the online version of the ACSD application. The paper copy may differ slightly. All information given on the sample application is fictitious and is meant to provide an example. This is a guide only and cannot cover every situation. If this is your first time accessing the application, click on Apply on the left side of the screen. Section 1. Assistance with completing the application. You will be asked if anyone is supporting you with filling out the application, i.e., community agency, DCAS, social worker, support worker, etc. If yes, you will be asked if they are with an agency and will need to provide the agency name, if applicable, the person's name, phone number, and email address. You will then accept or decline to grant them permission to access the online application. This means they would be able to access any saved drafts, add or modify information, submit the application on your behalf, and receive email communications about your application. Section 2. Applicant information. The applicant is the parent, caregiver, or guardian. You will need to provide a name, phone number, email address, date of birth, social insurance number, and mailing address. You will be asked if you are in a shared custody situation. If the parents live separately and the child shares their time equally between the parents, then both parents may be considered to have shared custody. Section 3. Spouse information. You will be asked if you have a spouse, married, or common law. If yes, you will need to provide their name, date of birth, phone number, email address, and social insurance number. Section 4. Child information. The child is the person with a diagnosed disability. You will need to provide their name, gender identity, and Ontario Health Card number unless they are a refugee claimant who does not have an Ontario Health Card. If the child is currently residing or will be residing in a hospital, institution, and/or group home, you will need to provide the following: planned admission, admission date, planned discharge date, additional details, name of the hospital, institution, or group home, reason for admission, etc. Section 5. Alternate contact information. You may choose to list an alternate contact. An alternate contact is anyone you would like to be contacted or someone to access the child's application file. This can be another parent, guardian, family member, or family friend. You will need to provide their name, relationship, phone number, and email address. Section 6. Other children information. Provide the number of people in your immediate family, i.e., yourself, spouse, and your children. You are asked to provide the age of any other children under the age of 18 in your immediate family that are living in your household, excluding the child you are applying for. Section 7. Financial information. You will be asked if you are currently receiving OW or ODSP. If yes, you will not be required to provide any additional information in this section. If not, you will be asked if you have your, and your spouse's, if applicable, most recent notice of assessment. Note that you will need to upload page 1 and 2 of your most recent notice of assessment later in the application. Once you indicate you have your notice of assessment, you will be asked to enter the household income from your most recent notice of assessment, listed as total income, line 50,000. If you have a spouse, you will need to add the total income from both notice of assessments. If you do not have a copy of your notice of assessment, you will need to contact CRA or use the online portal. If you have set up direct deposit with CRA, you can use your banking login as a sign-in partner to access your CRA account. Once logged in, go to Mail and locate your most recent notice of assessment. You will then be asked if your household income is substantially different from your most recent notice of assessment. This could be loss of employment, switching from full-time to part-time, etc. If your income is substantially different, you will be asked what your current household income is and will need to provide the reason for the change. You will then need to upload proof of current income, for example, an ROE, EI statement, most recent pay stub, etc. Section 8, Medical and Functional Questionnaire. This section gathers information about the child's medical condition and disability, current treatment and interventions, and their ability to function in daily living activities. Section A. You are asked to identify the child's medical condition and disability. This can be one sentence stating the diagnosis. You will then be asked to describe how the disability and medical condition impacts their daily living at home, in the community, and at school, if applicable. This can be point form. Think about what challenges they face, needed supports, and areas for growth. If you are having difficulty, you can try moving to Section B, and as you answer those questions, it may give you ideas for Section A. Refer to the sample application for examples. Section B. You are asked various questions about the child's functional daily living skills. You will answer yes or no. Be sure to read each question carefully. Some questions may be more difficult to answer, as there is no sometimes option. This is understandable and to be expected. Try your best to think about what is typical and answer to the best of your ability. For example, when asked, "Does the child follow instructions?" it is expected that no child does this perfectly every time. If they are generally able and willing to follow instructions, the answer would be yes. If they often struggle to follow instructions, the answer would be no. Section 9, Disability-Related Expenses. This section aims to determine how much money is spent on disability-related expenses. When completing this section, focus on what is needed, not necessarily what you are currently spending. For example, without funding, you may not be able to afford respite care, but it would be helpful to have. In this case, document how you would use the funding, what would be helpful or needed. Pay attention to each question carefully, as some will ask for yearly costs, while others ask for monthly costs. Keep in mind, these are your best estimates, not exact costs. Sometimes when asked for the yearly estimate, it can be helpful to break it down to monthly first. For example, when asked the yearly cost of extra clothing, it may be helpful to think about how much clothing is replaced monthly and then multiply by 12. For any section you have claimed an expense, you will be required to provide a rationale. This can be point form and explains how the child's medical condition and/or disability leads to the extra cost. Refer to the sample application for examples. If you do not have expenses for any section, check the box "I do not have expenses in this category." Expenses are broken down into the following sections, tips for each section included. Transportation, accommodation, and meal. Costs to escort the child for medical care and/or treatment, and any associated accommodation and meal costs. Costs of visiting the child are not included. This can include travel by car, taxi, bus, train, and air. Costs for parking, overnight accommodation for out-of-town medical care/treatment, meals costs during out-of-town medical care treatment are included as well. Sibling care. Costs of childcare for other children in your family under 12 years of age while attending appointments, meetings related to the child's disability. If you are currently bringing sibling to appointments, consider documenting hours needed if you were to have someone watch them instead. Extra clothing. Costs for additional clothing required as a result of the child's disability and beyond what every caregiver is responsible for purchasing for their children. Keep in mind that parents and caregivers are expected to purchase clothing regularly as children grow. For this section, consider the cost of clothing that is replaced due to things like soiling, chewing on shirt collars, picking at fabric, etc. Some families may utilize secondhand shops or get clothing for free from friends, family, and community agencies. Like the other categories, document what the cost would be for you to purchase the clothing at regular cost. Extra linen. Costs for additional linens required as a result of the child's disability and beyond what every caregiver is responsible for purchasing for their children. Examples of linens, if over 2 sets per year, could include bed linens, mattress pads, sheets, blankets, bibs, tailoring, towels, bed sheets, pillowcases, pillows, and comforters. Rationale for additional linen costs could include bedwetting accidents and wear due to picking and rubbing. Diapers, incontinence supplies. Costs for diapers, incontinence supplies not covered by Easter seals. This includes diapers, gloves, wipes, and pull-ups. Extra laundry. Laundry costs directly related to the child's disability. Rationale for additional laundry costs could include bedwetting accidents and frequent soiling of clothing. Shoes, boots, and custom orthotics. Costs for shoes, boots, and/or custom orthotics related to the child's disability. Special diet. Costs of special diets related to the child's disability prescribed or recommended by a physician, nurse practitioner, or dietitian. Medical surgical equipment and supplies. Costs of medical and/or surgical equipment and supplies related to the child's disability. Examples could include mobility devices, communication aids, hearing aids, specialized glasses, feeding bags, and oxygen tanks. Family relief respite. Cost for caregiver relief necessitated by the severity of the child's disability, or to allow the caregiver to devote more time to other children in the family. A person who cares for the child can include a relative over the age of 18, a respite worker, babysitter, neighbor, family friend, etc. Keep in mind that the number of respite hours will vary dependent on the severity of the child's disability, but all parents have some responsibility to supervise their children. Social programs. Costs for social programs that encourage socialization and/or physical stimulation. Examples could include community programs such as recreational programs, swimming lessons, and soccer lessons. Includes programs that the child is currently enrolled in or you would like for them to enroll in. You may need to research the cost of the program. Be sure to think about the yearly cost. For example, swimming lessons may be $100 for the block, but the child may enroll in 4 blocks per year, so the yearly cost would be $400. Camp. Cost of camps for the child with a disability. Include camps that the child is currently enrolled in or you would like for them to enroll in. Consider winter break, March break, and summer camp. Extraordinary childcare. Costs for childcare for the child with a disability, if 12 years of age or older, who requires ongoing supervision. Specialized daycare nursery school. Cost for specialized daycare or nursery school used for social skills enhancement for the child with disability. Special learning developmental equipment. Costs for special learning and/or developmental equipment that you purchase, specifically for the child's learning and development. Examples could include educational or specialized toys, weighted vests, weighted blankets, software for electronic devices, and noise-canceling headphones. Other expenses. Any other costs not captured in the above categories that are directly related to the child's disability. Examples could include service dogs, non-prescription drugs, household repairs, and special equipment repairs. Section 10, Banking Information. You will need to decide if you would like to receive the funds via direct deposit. If so, you will need to provide the account holder name, branch transit number, institution number, and account number. You will also need to upload a void check or a pre-authorized deposit form. You will then need to check 2 boxes confirming the information you provided is accurate and that you consent to the release of your personal information to the Ministry of Public and Business Service Delivery, MPBSD, and the financial institution named in this application for the purpose of directly depositing ACSD program funding into the bank account provided above. Section 11. Upload documents. You must upload the following documents before you can submit your application. Documents cannot be password protected. Your proof of immigration status or citizenship in Canada, such as your Ontario or other Canadian province or territory birth certificate, certificate of Indian status, Canadian citizenship, Canadian passport, permanent resident card, or Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada letter. Your proof of residency in Ontario, such as your Ontario driver's license, Ontario health card, valid Ontario photo card, rental or lease agreement, property tax bill, utility bill, or statement of direct deposit for Ontario Works or for the Ontario Disability Support Program. Child's proof of immigration status or citizenship in Canada, such as the child's Ontario or other Canadian province or territory birth certificate, certificate of Indian status, Canadian citizenship, Canadian passport, permanent resident card, or Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada letter. Child's Ontario health card. Child's medical and supporting documentation, a copy of the child's medical and supporting documentation that provides details and verification of the child's medical condition and disability. Your Canada Revenue Agency, CRA, Notice of Assessment, a copy of pages 1 and 2 of your most recent CRA Notice of Assessment. Your spouse's CRA Notice of Assessment, if applicable, a copy of pages 1 and 2 of their most recent CRA Notice of Assessment. Your Canada Child Benefit, a copy of your most recent Canada Child Benefit CCB notice must include all pages. If you are not receiving the CCB, the Ministry Regional Office will contact you to request details about your situation after you submit your application. Submitting the application. Ensure you have completed each section in full. You should have a check mark in a green circle beside each section. If you have missed any questions, you will see an X in a red circle. Once complete, you will then click Review before submitting. This gives you an opportunity to double-check information for accuracy. Be sure to pay close attention to the spelling of names, phone numbers, and email addresses. Complete the required consents and click Submit. You will get a message that the application has been submitted. You can then also save a copy of the completed application. It is suggested that you keep a copy for future reference, as you may need to complete another application if there are any changes to support needs. If you have completed ACSD or SSAH application in the past, you will get a message that the email address is already being used. You will need to click the box indicating you have completed an application before and then fill in your user ID and email address. You can request your user ID be emailed to you if you do not have the information with you. The user ID will be very long, consisting of random letters and numbers. You can copy and paste the user ID from the email, but be sure there are no blank spaces before or after the user ID.